Now, one of the people that it is that I love on the left is Charles Blow. If you guys don't know who Charles Blow is, listen, you first and foremost need to get to know. This is someone who comes on CNN's Newsnight regularly and checks MAGA Republicans. And in this clip, we are going to see nothing different. In this clip, we see Charles Blow go head to head and check spineless Ben Ferguson for his ridiculous response to Donald Trump and how it is Donald Trump does things. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end. Let's get into it.
You know, the ballroom is not the only pet project on President Trump's mind tonight. He's turning up the heat again on U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro over her decision to drop the reflecting pool vandalism case against the former Olympian David Hearn. Now, the president is demanding that Pirro should, quote, revisit her hastily made decision, his words. Let's talk about it. I got the host of the Ben Ferguson Show, Ben Ferguson, and the creator of Blow the Stack on Substack, Charles Blow. Glad to have both of you gentlemen here this evening. Ben, I'll begin with you here because the president is putting U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro in a pretty tough spot. If she doesn't cave, is the writing on the wall for her?
I don't think the writing's on the wall. I think this is one of the reasons why a lot of people like working for the president. You know where you stand with him all the time. He's not a guy that hides his feelings, what he thinks, his emotions. He's made it clear that this is something he has a strong feeling about. She gets to decide ultimately what she wants to do in her position of power. But I don't see a problem with the president saying what he believes. By the way, he was the only person that was elected by the American people. He owes it to the American people to say what he thinks on issues like this. It's transparency, and they're talking about it out in public. So this happens a lot with President Trump. And guess what? Almost 99% of the time, they move on from it as well.
Charles, what's your reaction to that? Because obviously these are political appointees serving at the pleasure of the president, but their ultimate audience and who they serve are the American people. And she's made a call that she feels there was not enough to meet her burden of proof and decided to dismiss, and he wants her to revisit this.
Yeah, I think that answer that Ben just gave was absurd because there's an actual human being here who is being charged with something. And if the evidence does not support that that person did what the president says that he did, he cannot be charged. You know, we are flaunting the whole idea of a presumption of innocence in the country. We're flaunting the whole idea that this person may not have done it. And Jeanine Pirro has basically come to the conclusion that he did not do what the president said that he did. And what the president is now saying that I don't care what evidence you have. I want this done because it saves space for me. I want there to have been vandalism and not there have to been reckless application of this kind of coding so that it saves my face. So are we really going to say this person has done nothing wrong and that the president gets to put his thumb on the scale and say, you will be prosecuted anyway because I want it to happen?
Charles, I wish you would have used that same logic when you were going after the president of the United States of America with lawfare year after year after year. When you guys were going after him, trying to put him in jail, trying to stop him from being able to run for re-election, where was this logic? Because I love this. Like, please apply it when you guys were weaponizing the government to go after Donald Trump.
That I went after anybody about lawfare. Please, you got to present evidence or you're not going to lie on me. So let's start with evidence.
Charles,
point out
you and I have debated the Mar-a-Lago raid. You and I have debated the attacks on the president in Georgia and in New York.
You and I have not. We've been on.
There is tape of it, my friend. There's tape of it.
I want you to either don't lie, or present your evidence of where I have said going after somebody for the lawfare during the Biden years. Please,
Charles,
present the evidence.
Are you telling me that on TV there is a tape of you saying that the lawfare that was against Donald Trump was wrong? There's a tape of you saying that.
Ben, I'd like you to answer the point that he raised. Hold on. I want you to answer the point that you raised because I think it's important and how you both presented the issue. Let me hear the response to this particular issue, which is, do you think that it is appropriate, this is what Charles raised, is it appropriate for President Trump to tell a U.S. attorney to revisit her decision not to prosecute somebody she has determined there was no evidence to pursue or meet her burden of proof? That's a very separate point than a discussion that looks backwards to so-called lawfare. What's your answer to that question?
I think it's appropriate for the President of the United States of America to say what he believes publicly, transparently to the American people. And if he believes that Judge Jeanine got this wrong, I love that there's transparency. I love it's not a backroom phone call. I love that it's not a phone call or an email or a text message. The American people don't know about it. He couldn't be more transparent than what he thinks about this situation and the reflecting pool. Now, ultimately, it's up to the judge to decide what she's going to do in this situation. But I love that we have a president that says it to everyone in the country, instead of maybe going behind the scenes or sending a text or an email or calling a prosecutor and trying to get something done quietly. This is as transparent as it gets. I love a president that does this.
Well, Charles, do you see this as a good thing? I mean, a feather in the cap?
You just heard from a political commentator without a spine.
Well, Ben, do you want to respond to the fact that you've been called spineless?
I'm used to Charles when he gets himself in a bad situation, name calling. It's what his career's been about. I'd expect nothing less from Charles today.
You are spineless. The fact that you are applauding someone,
it's transparency. Transparency is not spineless. Transparency is what the American people want.
I want to hear Charles' response.
Going against the evidence, and you're applauding that. That is a spineless position.
Have you seen all the evidence? I haven't seen all the evidence. You haven't seen all the evidence. The president's seen more than you have seen or I've seen. So, in other words, you're making a lot of crap up right now, saying that there's no evidence. You haven't seen the case. You haven't seen the evidence. You haven't seen what the president saw, Charles.
Jeanine Pirro. No, she went to the president with her evidence and with her conclusion, and with the conclusion of the people in the attorney's office that there was no case here. She put out her statement that said that there was no evidence of that. In fact, not only was there not evidence of him doing the damage, but that there was evidence that that it was the fault of the people who installed it. So she put that forward. That is the evidence that I'm saying, that she said that she saw it. That is important to remember.
I go back to
I'm so happy that it's not a backroom call. I'm so happy that he's doing it in public. I'm so happy that he's abusing the law out in public and not in the back rooms. And that is somehow making you jump up and down with your pom-poms. That's not cute. That's not cute.
When I talk about transparency, you sound ridiculous. When I talk about transparency, let me be clear. There's a difference when this president is transparent and what you guys do, for example, disclosing and hiding and protecting and lying about when Joe Biden had a massive cognitive decline. When you guys were telling everybody that Joe Biden was fine and a cognitive decline, called pathological lying. That's what you guys do on the left. This president's transparent.
Don't say you guys be talking to me. I don't know who you guys are.
Decisions of a
Maybe
former
president on my shoulder, but I don't know who you guys are.
Well, listen, I'm gonna give this woman the final word and just say thank you both for joining. And I have to just say, the American, it is no feather in the cap to say that it's great that you're transparently doing something if what you're doing is wrong. All it says is you were thumbing your nose at those who want accountability. But again, last word, gentlemen. Happy Friday. You're not going to be friends.
So I'm going to go ahead and pause it there. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can check it out. But honestly, what Charles said is 100% truth. Ben Ferguson is just spineless, absolutely spineless. And this is the reason why MAGA is a cult. Because the leader can do no wrong. How is it that you have a grown adult man sitting on national television, bloody hell, international television, praising Donald Trump for wanting someone to be held accountable, even though the evidence that went against him originally has been proven to be wrong? Please someone explain that to me. Please someone help me make sense of that. Ben Ferguson really thought he'd done something here. He really did. Talking about transparency. It's ridiculous. If evidence is provided that proves that what was said originally is no longer the case, nothing is needed. Nothing further is needed in this case. It just needs to be done and dusted. But exactly like Charles said, the problem with Donald Trump is that he is willing to have an individual put behind bars who is innocent, that has done nothing wrong, simply because of the fact that he doesn't want to make himself look bad. This is an individual who doesn't care about anybody else. He only cares about himself. And the reason why he only cares about himself, because he knows that it will have little lapdogs like this MAGA fool Ben Ferguson, who will go onto the airwaves and try and convince the American people that what Donald Trump is doing is right. And lastly, What the heck is up with these MAGA idiots and this consistent whataboutery? You make a point to them, they then turn around, oh, but what about Biden? Oh, but what about covering this up? Oh, but what? Like, do these guys think this strategy works? It doesn't. And it's ridiculous. And guess what? The midterms are coming, and I cannot wait for these Republicans to end up with pie on their face. Honestly, big up to Charles Blow. I love what he does. I love how he comes with the fire and the energy every single time. We regularly need to see this man on CNN. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. And as usual, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.